Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, good evening, and welcome back to another program on our platform, on Gambia platform, on another program on Voice of Youth Africa. Today we are going to talk about the challenges facing the children, youth, and women in our society. And with that, we have here Sam Sise with me and Mumudu Sawane. And I think that Mbalo is on its way coming. So we just decided to start now and wish everybody a happy new year. And we wish that 2022 will bring more success. And I hope that we will say bye-bye to Corona very soon. We're gonna start with Sam or Sawane, who wants to.
Sam can go. Sam can go.
Okay, Sam, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we're going to talk about the challenges facing children, youths, and women in our society, the challenges when it comes to their growth, when it comes to their parental care, when it comes to their education, when it comes to the needs that they need in life to be somebody who can be part of our society, to be something for the future of our country. So the way I'm going to start with you, Sam, is I'm going to start from I'm going to start from the child. When he's a child, what kind of thing do you think that as a child needs mentally and everything that he needs to be prepared at home so that you yourself know that you are, because of there are certain stages when it comes to children from the moment where he was born and the parents that he or she was born with, and also how how he is prepared in society when it comes to education, when it comes to his moral side. So what do you think that are the most fundamental thing when it comes to a child before you can release that child out in the society?
Yeah. Well, thank you. And, thank you, Njaga. Thank you, Mr. Swanee, definitely. And Happy New Year to all of you and all of our viewers, of course. This is a very important topic. When you talk about children, men and women, or boys and girls. And when you talk about children, it's very important that they have a good foundation in anything that you do. A good foundation is the key to success. Without a very good foundation, creates trouble and failure down the road or along the road, along the path of becoming a youth and a good citizen. So, and that foundation starts with the parents at home. Parents, of course, need to be the role model for their children. Every parent, need to be a role model for your children and need to be able to help your children understand what the future is. Because if you don't, they will be lost for a while before they have the big picture of what is ahead of them. So it's very important that parents model that at home, model good behaviors, model good characters at home, make sure that the children follow all the good morale that they need to have before they grow, and of course put them to school. Now, school is important. Education is very important in this generation. When you don't have good education or you don't have any education at all, never been to school, it becomes a struggle. You can survive without going to school. We've seen people that survive without being people that have never been to school. Yes, it happened, but it's always one in a million that did not complete school, and today is a celebrity. Is one in a million. It's not very many people that get that opportunity or to get that lucky. So the basic foundation is important. Going to school, but parents have responsibilities at home. The government has responsibilities for our children, because the government is the institution that should fund the schools to operate successfully, to be able to plan and put these children on a path to success by providing them all the tools and technology that they need with great teachers or good teachers, good paying jobs. I mean, teachers for good pay for the teachers, and put them out there to be able to teach our children very well. And of course, the proper recruiting of the right teachers is very important, so that our children can really compete in the next generation. Because right now, if you look at it, education in Gambia and education in other countries are different, and they should not be different. It's the same people. People need to be children are children anywhere they are in the world. They need that foundation. They need to be able to get the proper education from the elementary level, going to primary, secondary education, and all of that, all the way high school education. Very, very important. And what the government can do is that.
About we will come about the education and the government. We will come to that later. Right now, I want us to focus on let's say today. Okay, as you said in education, today you see certain kind of children given that like they are from family that are okay. They are given that opportunity for education. They are given that opportunity to be somebody. But do you think that that alone is enough? Like you talk about the foundation, the basic foundation of how to prepare a child. So I'm talking about here the moral side of it, like ready that even though he's out there on the street or he's out there, he will respect it because of, you can give all those opportunities for a child, an opportunity of education, an opportunity of living a good life, but he chooses the other way because of maybe there are some aspect on the moral side that you haven't trained that child, you understand, to really be that kind of a person that you understand. When it comes to respect, when it comes to respecting who you are, respecting your society, respecting your privileges, respecting you understand your tax, okay, respecting, because respect. It's not just respecting somebody, but respecting exactly that you are a kind of an asset, who can be very valuable in the future. So that's what I'm trying to disclose about. Like, do you think that in our society today in Gambia that you are giving that moral support and that moral education enough before enlisting in society or to education?
Yep, good question. Good question. Yeah, just like I started, I said the foundation. The foundation at home is very important. It's key. It's key to their success because if parents start by role modeling themselves at home for their children to see what they are and who they are, by being respectful to everyone, allowing themselves to be respected, say the things that you can say without worrying about, say the right things in front of children, and things that should not be said in front of children. Don't say things like that. But most importantly, the parents need to role model first before they can teach children what they need to be in the future and how they need to be in the future, because it is very important. When I grew up, all I was taught is to respect people, and really be the best I can be. And that's how I was. When I was young, I was a child that was very obedient, number one, very respectful, and always willing to help. And I was a child that was that everyone knows in the community that you can call this child and send him to go get anything for you. He will go get it for you without complaining. It's a person that is respectful. That's how I started. That's how I grew up. In fact, I remember in my young days, my mother used to be mad at me for one reason, and that is when I go out to play soccer with kids in the streets and all that stuff, and it's time to go eat lunch, I don't go home to go eat lunch. And even when I'm ready to go to eat lunch, one elderly person calls me and say, "Can you go buy me a cola nut from so-and-so?" I will stop going home and I'll go get that for that person. As soon as I come back and meet them at their grand place, another one will say, "Can you go get me some water?" I still cannot tell people. When I was young, I could not tell people no, and I could not tell anybody I'm hungry. I could not tell anybody any reason other than just do what they ask me. When they ask me, go do this, I'll go get water. They go buy me this, I'll go buy it. Go do this, I'll go do it. Until, I mean, I will walk and walk and walk and sweat and sweat and sweat and thirsty and hungry and still will not go home. By the time I get home, it's already past their lunchtime and everybody already ate. Then when I get home, my mom will be angry with me, mad with me for staying out too long. And I said, you know, so-and-so sent me to get him something. And then when I came back, another person sent me. Another came back, another person sent me. So they will push me around. All those elders sitting at that grand place, you know, will be using me and sending me to do all their errands before I could go home. So that's how I grew up. That was the respect that I grew up with. And that helped me.
That done to you exactly? What? Okay, on what has it helped you to be that kind of a person?
Yes, what that helped me is, number one, as a child, you need to understand that you need to have respect for elderly people. When you start that way and you grow up like that, having respect for people and never go against people like that, elderly people, you grew up to be a respectful person. You end up growing up to be a person that is very obedient. And as a result, that helps you when you go to school. When I went to school, I was very obedient, never get in any trouble for whatsoever. You see, because that's how I started. So that's why I said from the beginning, the foundation is key. How you get role model at home and how you start your foundation at home to be that good person that has respect for people and be obedient and know, you know, what to do when you see elderly people. You're sitting somewhere and an elderly person comes in, you get up and allow them to sit there, you know. All of those respectful things, you know, that we did when we were young, in my days that I did. And today, we don't see very many of that. You see, in our old days, again, when I was young, same thing. I see an elderly person carrying something, I want to get it off of them and carry it for them. I see a woman doing something, I want to go help them and do something. You know, I've helped, I've done quite a bit of stuff. This is what helped me grew up to be a better person. I think so. That foundation at home is key. It's very, very important.
Good, Sam. Now we will come to the why soon and why is it not like how it was before. That's what we are coming in with. Sawane, I want to ask you, like, don't you think that like today our society, it is making it very difficult for parents to put this kind of moral standards in their children like it was before 10, 15 or 20 years before? Do you think that it is the society, the system, or what is stopping from like how today the parents, what they should instill in their children, it is challenging, like different from how it was before? Do you think that it is because of the society or because of the parents are relaxed now or they don't have that time, or is it because of what and what and what?
Well, thank you, Njaga, for that question. I think that is a question that anyone can explain. Generational changes. Look at the time. You know, we used to. I came from Baribu, Swarekunda. I grew up there. You know, those days, like Sam was saying, I was the guy who usually go around. Everybody's sending. You know, I was the guy with the elderly, you know, buying them cola nuts, you know, Mbila to sell the old Fandika Giola, you know, whatever they need, you know, and then trust me, that is called barako, you know, like that's how you get blessings from those elderly people. You know, they said, but didn't know Tariada. When they send me, I run around, you know, fast as possible. Not like this generation. You send a kid, they say, Daddy, my leg,
What do you think is the problem? What do you think is the problem? Is it the mindset, or is it because of the parents are more relaxed, or it is society that is giving children more power?
The world has changed. You know, with this technology, with this, you know, people are the pace of people thinking now, and then everybody want easy way out. Awareness. You know, our moral also has been compromised You have to understand,
Mhm.
you know, the beliefs
Mhm.
also. You know, into coming belief no before ko, if you do this, you can be barako sutulaje. Nowadays, that doesn't exist in this kid's mind. You know, you have to,
Mhm.
can you
Mhm.
believe a child, you have to force them to study. Before,
Mhm.
it was not like that.
Mhm.
You know, I grew up in Badimusware Kunda. I studied my heart out until, unless to the point that my uncle used to beat me not to even study to so that I can be ready for work the next day.
Mhm.
So I have,
Mhm.
instead of being, you know, pushed, I was pushing myself. So in this generation now, I have to be on top of my kids, and the other families
Mhm.
have to be on top of their kids. Though the kids feel like they're doing you a favor for them to study, not knowing that they are doing it for themselves. So the mindset has changed. What a change, the mindset mean a change that everything has been
What do,
also, everything
what do
has
you
been a
think
luxury.
change? Or what do you think change the mindset?
Okay, let me tell you
What can
something,
you?
because they're getting it easy nowadays.
Mhm.
You go to
Mhm.
you go to Sam's house or my house. They eat until their
Mhm.
belly is full.
Mhm.
They don't know how much you spend on this goods. You know, they never, even if they go hungry one day, they cry. We go like, let me go and get food for them. Otherwise, the police will come. Otherwise, you know, somebody can report me. So every society has changed. Back home, I can cry until my stomach dries. Who cares? Nobody cares. No police will come and then trying to say, oh, you are abusing a child or something. So the kids have it the easy way. They don't know the value of it. Those who don't have it easy,
Yeah.
they know the value and they become more productive.
Don't you think that it is also the parents like today? Like okay, today there was a time that okay for us when we are children, anybody can beat us when we do wrong. But right now you cannot do it because of somebody's parent will take you to police or bring problems onto you. And like, don't you think that the parents also are much more relaxed? Like, is it because of their love for the children that makes them scared to right the wrongs because of they don't want to make them mad, or is it because
Okay,
of they don't
okay.
have time anymore?
Yeah, and let me answer that question for you, because this is a very good question for me. I don't know about Sam, but for me, um, me, I'm the hard one when it comes to my kids, and my wife is the soft one. Somebody has to be hard. Both parents cannot be soft. There is no doubt. Otherwise, the kids is done for life. It's done. I'm telling you that. So I prefer to be hard. I prefer to be really bad cop. Later on, the kids, later on in life, even if I'm not alive, the kids would know my dad really was fighting for me, than to be, you know, like the one who will say, oh, baby, 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 I love you too much. Nah, I want them to go through what I've been, you know, not to go through what I've been through, but what I've been through, the beatings and then the disciplines has made me a better person. You know, the sufferings has made me a better person. So I think the parents need to know the fine line between love and, you know,
To
discipline.
do.
If they don't
They
know
need to
that,
do.
they are screwed. I'm telling you. Because the thing is, I've seen, and some guys are like this too. I feel
Why
so
don't
disappointed when I
don't,
see a
don't
guy.
you think that?
I'm so disappointed when I see a guy being so soft, and then the woman even is more tough than the guy. In treating, I mean, in trying to raise the kids. Those kind of guys, I feel like sometimes I'm punching them, because you know why? They should be the one doing that. And I've seen it here. Trust me.
Yeah, okay, okay. When we are talking about okay, don't you think that like okay, also societies to and the system also is not allowing the parents to focus on their child because of they are more focused on how to bring food on the table. So that also kills the time for them having the time for the children to be with them
Okay.
through their
Let me
process of
help you.
growth.
Let me help you with this. This is very common in where I live here in New York. Okay, people are after this dollar. This dollar, let me tell you something. You will never get enough of it. This dollar, people in the Gambia, they can, you know, they let them be aware of this. We in the West say that, you know, we have this, we have that. We can never get enough of this because the bills are right next to the door. Oh yeah, it's the
Yeah.
end of the month. The rent man knock his door. you know,
but United States is different from Gambia. Gambia, you have to do it to survive. If not, you will not survive. You have to go from you understand. The father goes away from the whole day. The mom goes away to the market or to the narco or so something like that, just to bring ends meet for the family. So this also is limiting their time to have, because of, trust me, like most of the children that I see at stray on the roads, with no clothes on, with no, like, lost children, they are the ones like their parents are working tirelessly every single day to find ends meet. So do you think that also, something like that?
Njaga, some people are here. They are here. They're never gonna go home. They want to build mansions. Okay, you set yourself, your families back home, pressurizing you, or you want to compete. That's what is making them. They can arrange themselves, especially if you have a wife here. One person can work, the other person stays home. You have to prioritize kids, not like, because, I want to put food on the table. How can two people put food on the table? I know, like, come on. It's okay if they can, but if the kids are there, let somebody take care of the kids. I don't want to mention names, but here, there's a lot of, kids around my block here. Their parents are never home, and guess what? They're in the street, and they become bad guys. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Samane. We'll come back to you soon. Now we'll go to Siaka. I am coming right now. Hence, as I said, just to remind viewers, we are talking about children, youths, and women, and the challenges that they are facing in our society today. But Siaka, before we come to you, I want to come on. Aja, are you? Can you hear me? Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, hello. Aja, can you hear me?
Maladega.
Hello. Okay. Ñu dem ci wolof.
Baax na loo wax rek.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Li ma lay laaj comme jigéen nga. Léegi nag comme ñi ngi wax ci jafe-jafe yoo xam ne tey góor yeeg ndaw ñeeg kii yooyu noonu ñi ngi jafe-jafe yooyu noonu yow nga yaakaar ne yow comme jigéen comme jigéen bi tey comme suñ société bi tey yan jafe-jafe yooyu comme nga nekkee xale nekk jànq ba nga màgg nekk jigéen yan jafe-jafe foofu noonu la jigéen la maanaam la ngeen dee jànkonteel ci lu ëpp loo xam ne tey dina leen mën a tere yegg foo leen war a yegg wala maanaam doon koo leen war doon ci biir société bi comme jigéen.
Well, njaga noo ko waxee rafet na wante xam nga loolu moom suñ si naaree wax dinañ fi toog ba ele cause jafe-jafe yi de jigéen bi face si dëkk bi dafa bari te bokkut since loo xam ne depuis time xale la ba nga mag dem ba sëy life goes on so luñ dee face moom bari na torop bokk na si tamit cause well man tam jigéen laa xam naa lan laa dee face
comme yàlla soo ko naree lim daal nga yaakaar ne tey jafe-jafe yi comme jafe-jafe yi ci parents yi la wala comme tey maanaam tey parents yi bu ñu war a yore xale yi ba ñu màgg duñ koy def wala société bi bët yi leen dee xoolee ak bët yi dee traité ndax yéen a ngi am benn sécurité boo xam ne dafa jógee ci seen parents yi dem ci mbedd bi daal ba ngeen war a doon koo leen war a doon ci biir société bi ba ngeen gis seen bopp ci biir dëkk bi daal ci biir société bi.
well nekku ne always comme ça lu nekk si parents la dëgg la parents yi am nañ right foofu but comme aduna bi léegi dafa revolve ñu ngi si another generation xale yi duñ dee déglu seen waxi yaay yi parents doo den dee def luñ mu cause xam nga benn yaay du bugga nga gis sa doom si biti mi ngay def lu bon wala leneen so ñun laa wax ñun xale yi nga xamante ñu ñoo nekk fii suñu yaay suñu waxee sax waaw rek la ñoo wax ñu génn dem doxi suñu soxla yi tinki dan ñu ngi ko def suñu yaay fekka luñ ko defal suñu bopp la nekku ne parents they are not advising wala nekkuñ di def the right way to nurture us
nga yaakaar ne advice rek doy na daal ci jigéen comme ci jigéen te nga yaakaar ne advice rek doy na maanaam xoolal lii defal lii ba pare bàyyi ko noonu rek yaakaaroon ne am na leneen loo xam ne tey parents yi war nañ ko mën a def tey mu gën a yokk tey sàmm xale quoi comme soo déggee ma ne la sàmm xale tey ngay wax ne tey maanaam early pregnancy you understand early pregnancy ak yooyu noonu xale jigéen yoo xam ne tey ñu ngi dugg ci drogue ñu ngi tux ñu ngi naan xale jigéen yoo xam ne ñu ngi war a toll ci jànguñu yaakaar ne tey lan moo jur loolu noonu daal xale jigéen yoo xam ne tey maanaam nekkatuñu jigéen ñu dund boo xam ne sax góor yi dunduñu ko am na yeneen góor yi sax dunduñu ko nga yaakaar ne tey lan moo nekk di provoque loolu noonu ci mbedda bi la wala ci parents yi la wala ci maanaam tey ci society buñ nekk na
loolu moom soo ko xoolee nekk na fu nekk na si wàllu parents yi dem na si mbedda bi si xale yi dem na si loo xamante ne dafa nekk comme nit yaa ngi use waaw léegi we are into another lifestyle den jaxa yi commencé di def lifestyle boo xamante ne daal nekku si loo xam ne si maami njëkk yi loolu leen nekkoon di def soo xoolee si time bi maami njëkk yi comme biiri mbedda yi nii wala wër yi jaxa muy dem di wër bi around 12 si guddi di ñib si wala nekk foofu ba fajar daal di topp programme fu mu nekk di dem loolu time boobu bokku si suñ time yi wante léegi yaa ngi xool si ñun suñ génération right now dangay gis sax koo xamante ne sa yaay daf laa hum dem nga ne ko waa baax na xale yi jigéen am nañ fit boo xamante ne drogue sax mun nañ koo def using sleeping pills so that sa yaay wala sa papa mu nelaw den nga mun a dem doxi sa soxla so ñun am nañ fit yoo xamante ne mun nañu def lu nekk léegi nekku ne loo xam ne soo xoolee si other ways around parents yi dañ fa dee am waal waaye parents yi tam dañ dee def luñ mun xam nga nit mun naa wax ne maa ngi dem school den ma dem si yoon bi rek ma day baat xam nga boobu noonu parents yi duñ ko yëg loolu man maa ko defal suma bopp léegi bari na fi ñoo xamante ne si luñ la rek nekku seen parents yaa ko de yëg dañ dee dem ba in a certain place ñi ngay génn den ñu daybaat dem doxi seen soxla yi wala ñu tàggoo ñi ngay dem seeti suma mbokk den ñu daybaat so loolu moo de nekk rek ba pare nit yaa ngi adopt a new lifestyle boo xamante ne nekkul lu bokkoon ci lifestyle buñ am moon present lifestyle dafa different léegi nekk xale bu jigéen
soo da nga jàpp ne self responsibility la
waaw yéen self responsibility la dee nekk cause ku nekk mag nga man fu ma nekk nii xam naa lu bon xam naa lu baax lu ma def rek maa ko dugal suma bopp kenn dugaluma fa so ku nekk rek koo xamante ne nekkuloo below the age of let's say 13 cause léegi 10 years sax xam nañ lu bon xam nañ lu baax luñ def rek dañ ko dee xam so loolu lam fa dee nekkee yu bari du dee nekk seen parents daf dee nekk loo xamante ne peer influence moo ne si dee dugal ba pare ak seen bugga daal bugga rek aduna bi yëg ne yaa ngi dunda wala bugga nit yi di gis ne waa kii moom dafa am free life bàyyi ko mu génn fekk ay certain things sax danga ko dee def sa yaay sax du ko dee xam
baax na kon yow da nga jàpp ne self responsibility la so yow nga yaakaar ne léegi fu mu nekk nii ñan ñoo war a def boo ku jigéen ki yow yaa war a parce que tey soo déggee mel na ku jigéen ki xam nga tey xale lu mu doon boppam bariwul kon yaakaaroon na tey influence bi dafa teel a commencé ba kooku noonu di màgg xam nga ñu ne xale tamit maanaam banta bu tooy banta pour nga jubanti ko dafay fekk mu tooy ci bu tooy bi nga koy mën a jubanti waaye bu demee ba wow pour nga jubanti ko dafay xaw a jafe yaakaaroon ne dafa am maanaam ci foundation bi la quoi
waaw loo wax dëgg la njaga comme nuñ ko dee waxee banta moom su tooyee essentiel bi nga ko dee mën a jubantel su demee ba woo doo si mën a dara daf dee nekk si parents si peer influence xam nga toog tamit sa yaay mi ngi complain sa boor even nga laajte ko e single butul sax mu commencé waaw man ma awma lii danga dee dem ba yenn saa danga dee yëg sa bopp nga ne waaw man every time maa ngi depend on my parents ba pare su ma leen ñaanee sax duñ ma ko dee mën a defal maa ngi gis suma xarit yaa ngi ko def
kon foofu noonu dafa am benn commune waaw comme loolu dinaa si ñëw after maanaam ci wàllu communication bi diggante parents yi ak seeni xale yi loolu dinaa si ñëw after ci yow yooyu noonu ak rawatina sax si jigéen parce que foofu la gën a amee solo communication diggante doomu jigéen bi ak yaayam
yeah I want to comment there if you guys don't mind, you know.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, you can come before I go to see.
You know what Aja is saying. It's not about, you know, parents cannot afford. You know, when you call government and you do nya jangayata. Definitely. There are some kids that are just like that. They never satisfied. They want everything. They want every nice thing. They will go and steal. And they will go and do other, you know, things that are not, you know, that are not culturally good or that are not, you know, ethical, just to make sure that they get that thing or peer pressure or something like that. So I think the moral obligation of a parent is to teach your kid so that it cannot habu. That means they don't have to be bukante too much. So, but again, people are created different. You can come from the same mom and dad with someone. I am, okay. I don't have much problem, about, being Bukante or something like that. And but my brother or my sister could. So, people have different makeups. So I think, it's between individual and also with the lies between the parents as well. But that's what I just want to jump in there.
Thank you, Sawale. Now we come to Siaka. Siaka, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. How are you? Welcome again. Can you hear me? Your network is like.
Thank you. Yeah, my network is kind of.
Yeah. Okay. What I want to ask you about, like, okay, you are a youth and you are leading in one as I say, one organization, GYSD. So I want to ask you, you being a child onto the stage that you are in right now. What I'm going to ask you is that, is you as a child until you grew up to this stage, how was it for you, and exactly did you achieve your dream when you were a child? That, like, because every child has a dream that this is what I want to be, this is what I want to do. Is it your dream, or have you had other dreams, and also what are those dreams, and what are the things that can affect the dream of a child to be somebody or to be something tomorrow, and at the end they are not that?
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the question. It's very important because I'm working with the young people here and the youths, as a community, as a leader, young leader. So I think your discussion is very important to me. Yeah. For my, my part as a young person, I think, first of all, I have to, the like in a form of blaming, the parents, some parents, they must be blamed for negligence, because, and then also the education system also. We can also talk about the education system when it comes to parenting, and in also our communities, as you said, peers and good influence and other stuff like that. We have faced a lot of challenges. For me, I've been through a lot of challenges during my childhood time, and I have experienced something that I think many of my friends don't experience, because I live in a community.
Yeah.
Say it again. Hello.
You're like what kinds of things that you face? If you can just share it. Yeah, the things that you face.
When it's come, because today you are talking about morals, moral disciplines. Discipline is everything, and I think young people must be nurtured how to be disciplined. It's so very important to nurture a child. That is, that is so important for the life of.
Sorry for that. I think it's this network. Siaka, we will come back to you. If I told that the network is bad, we'll come back to you. You can reconnect later when you can. Sam, we just come back to you. If you Sam, Siaka can come back later.
And then community school also have to, need to involve education system has prevented us, the parents, every territory.
Yeah. Continue.
Hello.
Continue.
Yes. What I'm trying to explain here is because we have to. It is a blaming game here in the society that we are living in the Gambia here. It's like parents must be blamed also, and then the community as well, the school also have to be blamed for ignoring the children. Young children for us, what I will believe in young people, they have the knowledge, they have the creativity, they have the compassion to be part of the children. But if they are not given the chance, they are not given, treated like, children. And psychologically, there's many children, many issues surrounding the situation of a child. So all those things have to be understood. And maybe through education, we can address all these things. And then so that a child can be a better person in that community. So for me, the experience I have, I think is very different from other children because I have gone through, many challenges which comes when you talk about family issues. Family issues is very challenging in the Gambia, and it's a common issue. Like,
what was your dream? What was your dream growing up as a child? What was your dream? What do you sit down and think like? Okay, and at this age, this is what I want to be. This is what I want to be in future. What was your dream, and exactly did you fulfill the dream or what altered the dream? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, the dream was like to be. We have all those dreams, but we cannot hear you. The dream I'm saying is.
Okay.
Can you get me?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the dream was like to be a better person in our community, like to be doctors or teachers or engineer, and so. But you would see that dreams, maybe you find it very challenging to achieve those dreams. But at least if as the saying say, charity begin at home. Children must nurture at home first before the outside environment or the community will okay. So what I have experience here is like some children, and it based on because of maybe the parents lack certain needs, and then the children is facing those challenges, and then that can affect his or her life in the so we have to consider all those things. It's not a blaming it's a game situation right now that both parents and the children, but the blame must be based on the child, on the parents much more than the children, because children, they are young, and they need the help before they grow up. So if you are to blame a child while the child does not know what he or she is doing at that stage, you, the child, should take the responsibility.
So you feel that it is on the parental side that there should be more reform than when he's the child out in the society.
Yes, because you cannot blame a child. A child is as a child. You cannot just call a child an elder. There is a difference in the equation, So, but they have the potential. You have to make them realize their potential. If it comes to teach them morals at school level, even at community level, and what is affecting them in their community, you have to understand those things. And when we fail to understand all those things, we cannot build a better children. We cannot build, better communities. So this is what is, affecting our society right now. And as I see, I have,
Okay, thank you. We'll come back to you. Sam, we come again now. We like, okay, you were just talking about education. Now, do you think like today, when you prepare your child at home with all the necessary preparation and you send that child out in the society to school, when you receive back that child at home, do you see the same reason why you send that child to school when it comes to everything? Because of, do you feel like that he or she is real from an education center? Because when we talk about education, we don't talk about just reading and writing. We are talking about the state of mind, that child, you understand how he can be somebody tomorrow in society. That's why we send children to school. So do you think that right now in Gambia that like when parents send their children to school, they see when that child comes back, do they see exactly everything in that child, the reason why they send the child to school?
Yes, I would say, in Gambia, since we're talking about Gambia, if you ask me today where I am now in America, I would say yes, I see that here. I see that in my kids. But when you talk about Gambia, there's a big difference. And the difference is the educational system is not structured very well to be able to teach our children all the things that they need to know. And that is part of the reason why if you take a fifth grader from Gambia and a fifth grader from another country and put them together, you can tell the difference. Gambia is behind. One, we don't have the proper training in education. Well, I'll say the proper training for teachers, tools and technology for the teachers to be able to know and teach our children. So in some cases, some people may say yes. When I went to school back in the days, I'll say, yeah, the teachers did their best. They tried very well. They tried very well to teach what they can teach. And when I was, if I put myself back in my old shoes, when I was going to school, yes, I was going to school to learn something, and I came home and I was prepared for what's next. You know what I mean? I was prepared. I felt like, yes, the teachers did the right thing. They taught me what they knew. Now, today, if I look at that today, I would say I wish the teachers have better technology, tools and technology, and well-trained to be able to train. Because a trainer or a teacher has to be well-trained first to be able to train well. So we're lacking in that area very well in Gambia. And I can say that kids go to school and come home and not really accomplishing the goal of, what they were supposed to learn in school that day or what they learned in school that day. When they come home, can they explain all of that to you? Probably not. In some cases, sometimes yes.
Exactly. So what kind of things, fundamental things, the things that we should maybe start to like the fundamental problems of our education, and what kind of why that child is lacking, you understand? It's like today how I see it in Gambia is like we have more people going to school than people who are educated, and that speaks something, you understand? Then we have more people who are going to school much more than the ones who are educated. So that explains that our standards of education is very, very low. You understand? So what do you think that are the fundamental problems, and what are the basic solutions to that?
Good. Yeah, just like I said earlier, the fundamental problems are, one, the fundamental problems are our teachers are, number one, they are not well paid. Number two, some of them are not very well capable of actually teaching well. Okay. And number three, they don't have the tools and technology they need to be able to teach well. So that's one. And those are fundamentals that in every institution you go, in everywhere in the world should be fundamentals. Okay. Those should be there. For example, when I say tools and technology, you know what I mean? All the tools and technology that I see my kids have today in America. All right. So what is the solution? The solution is we need a restructure of our education, the educational reform, just like all the reforms that Gambia need to have. There's so many reforms that we need to have that we didn't have yet. We cannot still have. I'm not sure why are we waiting for these reforms, but the educational reform is one of the keys to this. We need to reform our educational system to make sure that, number one, in that reform, teachers get paid very well. And number two, that they are well trained. There should be a requirement for teachers. A requirement should be, you have to have certain level of education to be able to be a teacher. Because if we want to teach our future generation, well, those who are teaching them have to be very well taught. Just like what we call train the trainer. The trainers need to be trained very well to be able to train. So, and on top of that, they need the tools and technology. I mean, today you go to Gambia, people are sitting on the floor trying to learn. That's really bad.
Exactly.
And they still using those pencils and try to write and putting their books on their laps to write something. I mean, today you come to America. I mean, I'm not going to compare Gambia and America, but I'm just saying, this is what we want Gambia to be. We want Gambia to get to that level where our children can use computers. You know what? If it's not because of corruption that's in our country, today, Gambia being such a small country, every school in Gambia should have a high-speed internet. They should have a library.
Exactly.
They should all have a lab.
Exactly.
They should have computers and printers and everything. And
Exactly.
kids in
Everyone,
elementary
because
school should be able to even type. They can sit down at school library and type an email to their parents. Just like today, my kids can do that. My kids can send me an email. They can send emails to their teachers. They can exchange emails with people. They, you know, that is the foundation. This is what is going to help them when they get to college. Otherwise, in Gambia, like, you know, in our days, when I went to school until I finished school in Gambia. I had never used a cell phone. All right. And I had never even seen a typewriter, let alone typing something, or computer, or let alone to type something on a keyboard. So those are things that are lacking. That's why, like I said, if it wasn't for corruption, we should have by now have all of these in every school. All of these should be available. This is what's holding Gambia behind. We are lacking tools and technology, and the restructure that needs to happen has not happened yet. That's why our teachers are poorly paid, which is a discouragement. And I mean, they struggle to get materials in class. I mean, real materials in class to teach the kids. They struggle to get that. I mean, I seen I heard a story about a storm damaging a classroom somewhere, and teachers were actually in a whole area, and the teachers were actually sleeping in a classroom. They get up in the morning and try to prepare themselves, clean up, and get out so kids can come in and they teach them in the same place. I mean, that is something we should not be going through in this generation. So these are all problems. So the solution is we need reform, educational reform. That comes with a lot of stuff.
It comes with a lot of, okay, sorry. Sorry, I'm going to okay, you have heard both Siaka and Aja and Sam. So Siaka talked about more of a responsibility of the parents, the moral side, the education side, the respect and everything needed to the child. Sam emphasized more on the education side of the educational reform. So what are your analysis between these two, and what can you put on your weight on? Either it is on the parental responsibility, or it is where we need reforms, or on the education, more on the education side. On the education side in Gambia, we need reforms. We are not talking about that. But what do you think that either the parents or we can do more to help that child grow and to be somebody else in society? Your analysis.
Yeah, thank you, Jaga, for that. What I think this is about the way you looked at it. First, our education, we all agree that we need our educational reform, because during the time, during our time, the way competition was, the way schoolings were, you remember common entrance, very competitive exam.
Very competitive. Very competitive.
The exam that, said send me to Armitage High School, only 5 of us passed in Kerawan Primary School out of 50 students. So
it's the scholarships I had from the government.
Exactly.
Common entrance.
Common entrance. And it took me twice for me to pass. The first one I was 6 marks, short. The second time I passed, I went to Armitage. So those days, educational system in the Gambia are far better than now. I think we got screwed up when Jammeh came and changed this system.
Why like today in the 21st century that we have more logistics, everything should be easier, we have Google, we have internet, we have smartphones, we have all those stuff, and the education system is worse than before. That time that we don't have smartphones, all those logistics, we just needed our pencil and our books, and we don't even have correct bags and stuff like that.
Because this, like Sam said, this come from our leadership. The leadership is not giving incentive to education. See, when you pump money and you reward people who graduates, good jobs, right, good lives, they would push towards education. Our youth are seeing education as a waste of time now. That's why they don't care. They want to find back way, or coming to Europe, or doing other things than, or to steal or do other things than to go to school, because they feel like when they graduate, there's no job. So all the bulk of the thing relies on a poor governance, and also we don't have leaders in place who can motivate these kids by giving them scholarships. You see, when Jammeh was there, at least with all his bad records, human rights records, he sent people to Cuba to become doctors. He sent a lot of over 200,000 to
I had scholarship
2,000,
from him.
5,000. I have friends who are now enjoying
I had
because of
scholarship
that.
from him, yeah.
So we need, you know,
Exactly.
twice or thrice of that in order for our educational system to be strong, and then we have skillful people who can help the country develop. So this is why the competition is very, it's not there anymore. People prefer taking a boat and going back way, or trying to find an easy way out than to actually work their heart out and then study and then become someone. So this is the problem, you know, in terms of our education. Now, in terms of responsibility of parents, parents also have let down, you know, our community. Parents today, when their kids come to Europe or to come to America, they don't even encourage them to study. You know what they want? Take me to America. You know, I need a backup. You know, always problems, always problems. They're pulling us down. I had to put a fight to go to school. You know, I put all the developmental agenda, buying a house, doing this, doing that. I said, listen, I'm going to school 10 years, 11 years. Otherwise, I will not. Guess what? Most of the folks who came here with me, they haven't gone to school, because guess what? 9 to 5 doing this, you know, store jobs, or, you know, doing these nursing jobs. And guess what? They're still doing them. They have no professional jobs. So you have to, our parents are not also helping. If I wasn't lucky to find a parents who are understanding on my agenda of going to school, I wouldn't have been where I am. So realistically, parents are also failing us. The government is failing us, our parents are failing us, and that the kids don't have any bones. The kids of today cannot just be get up and then make things happen. Too lazy. I don't know, maybe the food, it has to do with the food, these chickens and these things being imported from Europe and elsewhere. I don't know.
Okay, thank you very much, Sami. Sam, I'm going back to you a little before I go to Siaka and Aja. Still going to stay with that education. Now we talk about education, schools and technology and stuff. So what do you think, like today, when you look at the situation in Gambia, like as I said, you have more people going to school than being than educated. So don't you think that we should focus more right now, more on skill sets training and stuff like the things that we can do with our hands, because of just to reduce unemployment? Because of when you see the unemployment standards of our country is very high, don't you? So what do you think that the government or people, let's say the government, can do just to reduce that unemployment rate and train and try to put more skills in our youths and the ones who are employed right now in our country?
Yep, very good question. Very good question. And, you know, this is why I said reform needs to take place, because not everybody can be a doctor, right? We all know that. Not everybody can be a doctor. So, and not everybody is going to be a pilot. So there should be avenues for people to take other stuff. And that is where the reform needs to take place, and have structures in place where kids go to school, from school to get the basic foundations all the way to high school. From high school, this is where a decision making should take place. And like we all know, when we were all in school, there's always that one kid in the class that's very smart, that always gets everything right, you know? So we all know that, right? And we also have kids that are really very stubborn, not only stubborn, but mentally they're challenged. They just can't get it. You know, they just can't get it. So people are different, and there should be something for everyone. And to be able to get that something for everyone is where the government creates that restructuring and reform of the education system, where they come up with skill centers. I once used an example, and I said it on here too before on New Gambia platform, but prior to that, I said it on my own platform several times, a couple of times, and that is the government can really, when people get to high school, after high school, I know there is GTTI. People go to GTTI, and they go to technical institutions. Those are not enough. Not everybody can enroll in that. Not everybody wants to get into that. So there should be more avenues. For example, I used the Gambian National Army as an example. I mean, the Gambian National Army should be used as a place where you can train the youths and discipline them and put them on track for a straight path to success. Because when you join the Army, you're going to have discipline, like it or not. They will discipline you there very well. So in that discipline, you also are in the Army. You know, they should create this opportunity for people to, when they get out of high school, to enroll in the Army for an incentive. The incentive is, if you go into the Army, there's a lot of skill sets in there, that centers in the Army that you can learn. You can learn free by serving the country. You will have free education in the Army. If you want to become a carpenter, you can learn it in the Army. If you want to become a masoner, you can learn it in the Army. If you want to become a plumber, you can learn all of that in the Army. If you want to be a builder, you can learn it in the Army. If you want to be a welderman or a welder, you can learn that in the Army. If you want to be an electrician, you can learn that in the Army. So if you create all of this and many more, you create all of these branches in the Army, because Gambia, you know, we are a very small country, small army. What country are we going to fight? We're not going to fight with anybody. So we don't expect to send our people to go to war. We're not recruiting them to go to war.
We're gonna fight with ourselves.
Our country, but give
exactly.
Them
that's why
you can learn something. You know,
we're gonna fight within ourselves.
What's that?
I said we're gonna fight within ourselves.
I know. So if we create those opportunities for them to learn there, when they all come out of the Army, you know what's going to happen? We've already trained them and gave them an opportunity, because like I said, not everybody's going to be a doctor. So there are people that are going to be better, be a vehicle mechanic. There are people that will be better being a painter. There are people that are going to be better being a welder or a carpenter. They can learn all of these. When they come out of the Army, different contractors will hire them. Not only that, they will have the opportunity to go to the bank, get a loan, open your own workshop, and become your own, and not allow all these foreigners to come in and open all these workshops in our country. Our own youth can do all of it.
Exactly.
See?
You are saying something very important. I think that we will save that.
Yeah, this is one area. It's just one way government can take advantage.
Exactly. That will be its own topic, maybe some other time, because of it's like when we talk about the basic development tools and stuff like that, how we can develop our country and how we use the mindsets, the institution, all those things. We will come to that. I think some other time. Very important. Very, very, very important. Before we just continue, I want to just say shout out to I don't know, this woman, Lady Yamase. I think that she's a #1 fan on our platform, and she's always commenting and saying very good stuff. So you want to say hi to her before we continue, I think. And now we will try and wrap it up soon. So, Sawane, before I come to you, let me just go to Aja and maybe Aja, your last words. Okay, just to make it, just to summarize it, we were talking about the challenges facing the children, the youths, and women, and we have outlined the problems, from the parents to the children, for the education side, the reforms that it needs, and how the parents also can help the children when it comes to boost their moral, their moral part, also the respect, the education part, and how they can help them grow to be better people in society. So it is very important that we have these kinds of topic, because of the children and the women. They represent a very important role when it comes to our society and our tomorrow. So it's very important that we are doing something like this. So Aja, after hearing now linga dégg ni yëpp man mooy say kàddu yu mujj ci loo xam ne daal di ko mën a analyse ci debate bi tey nga def ko nu ngeen a gàttee rek incha allah. Aja, can you hear me?
She's on mute. She's on mute.
Yeah, she's on mute. I think that maybe she didn't realize it. Or she's
there you go.
Okay, okay. Okay, okay. Diga no. Okay, okay. Okay. Okay, come in. Diga no. Yeah, well, money. Say kadi yu mujj ci li nga dégg ni ak yooyu noonu ni ko déggee ak yooyu noonu ci debate bi ci wàllum jigéen yi ak xale yi parents yi education side bi ak education dépense. Say kadi yu mujj in review rek na summarize ko rek. Hello?
Well, suma network baa ngi sig waaye maa laa dégg ma ne network baa ngi sig waaye li nga jot a wax dégg naa si tuuti de.
Waaw.
jafe yu nit yi di nekk di gàllankoor fii nii boot si xale yeeg ndaw yeeg jigéen yëpp dégg la bari na waaye sax nga suñ ko naree wala ko waxee rek te dinañ bari ñuy comment soo dañ ko jéem a summarize sax ñu xool nuñ ko defee. bari na moom cause ñun ñëpp ñi ngi dem su fekkee wàllum éducation bi la comme Mr. Cissé waxee rek wàllum éducation bi in Gambia dafa po yet still mi ngi lag behind te ñun xamante ñu ñoo ne yoo xam ne ñu ngi def school as of now ñu ngi further still we need help they need support si wàllum éducation bi cause doo dee mun a compare sax let's say fii nii a university going student nga compare ko in America a grade 1 student sax daf dee mun a nekk cause loolu dafa nekk ci lu ko xee you need to train a train comme nu ko xee suñ good trainers suñ toogee foofu at the end this what is rek lañ dee nekk di dégg classe bi waaye loolu rek lañ dee nekk di dégg full day so dafa depend si government bi ñu dimbale ñu comme am nuñ ko buggee pour ñu mun a jàng ñu dem si kanam suñ buggee comme sin dream si ñu ñëw dégga government bi dañu war a jàppale si wàllum éducation bi wante tam soo ñëwee nga xool si wàllum jigéen yi jafe-jafe bu nekk am bari na jigéen ñoo xamante ne right now ñu ngi jànga bugg a dem liggéey duñ mun a liggéey seen jëkkër yàlla ñu ay waaye xam nga nit tamit dëgg la soo xoolee wàllum religious bi neex na sa jëkkër mi ne la soo bul dem liggéey nga toog wante difficulté loo xam ne jëkkër bi sax su la waxee toogal at the end moom du mun a indi loo xamante daf ko into a table mi ne waal ne leen lekka lii nii daf dee wërsëg si tànki borom la nekka ne ku ñëpp a war a toog daf dee baax jigéen mu dem mu daan sa doole doo in right way nga dem doole boo xamante dafa nekk loo xamante is at in a right way soo ko defee sa jëkkër dafa xam ne waaw kii daf ko def pour famille bi daf ko def pour njaboot bi den war na mun a bàyyi mu dem di ñaan góor yi rek ñuy xam nga diggante tamit su amee trust daf dee baax ñu bàyyi seen jabar yi ñu dem di liggéey di as loo gis rek gom la wante tamit si suma moromi xale jigéen yi moom nen bàyyi seen xel bu baax buñ jël ne waa life bi is change as of now man mun naa wax ne Gambia ñi ngi wax Jamaica de Gambia moo nekk as of now cause léegi man lu ma nekk di gis man duma ko def de waaye lu ma nekk di gis maa ngi génn social media maa ngi gis post ku nekk loo nekk def surtout TikTok bi nga xamante ne léegi boobu la nit yi nekk di use jaxay ñi ngi fees ci TikTok bi ku nekk mi ngi def lu ko neex dangaa gis ku taxaw yaram mi neen sax nga fonne waa yow li nga sol yëre la bàyyil ma ñëw entertain people doo yaa ngi entertain people nit yaa ngi xool ñu ngi laa dee lu bon ak lu baax yéen nit yaa ngi wax soo ko déggee soo ko digul soo di wax rek ñu bàyyi suñu xel sol noonu bu baax buñ jël yeneen laaj ne waaw let us adopt those lifestyles lu bon di dem di dem club di génn outing lu nekk di def rafetul daal.
Ok, jërëjëf Sawane, so before you wrap it up, your last words.
Yeah, my final words, just like I'm gonna pick it back off Sam and Aja.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Sam, what he said about skillful works, I think that should even be introduced not only in schools but even in prisons, because when people are in prisons, instead of giving them manual labor, and as a punishment, teach them how to become, someone when they come out. You've seen a lot of people who have improved in prison, people like Malcolm X, they have turned prison life to become scholars. Maybe create school system there, create some kind of, mechanics workshop there. Let them become someone when they come out and then be helpful in this community. About our people in the Gambia, you see, there's a lot of things happening and we have to point fingers to our leadership. There are drugs in the Gambia. There are guns in the Gambia. We've seen it recently since New Gambia, and then people haven't been, the security sector hasn't been enforced to the point that people feel safe and secure. And because of that, the influence of the West, we've seen, they have burned some marijuana not long ago, tons of marijuana. These things are going into, the hands of young people, especially the women. Women are even becoming victims now. So the drugs is causing a lot of things, like what Ade is saying, people are dressing the way they are dressing, coming to TikTok. I saw that. Sometimes I go to TikTok, I have to close it out because I cannot take it, what I'm saying. And then some of them are our own people. So I think we are losing the morale because of, the technologies and because of our societal change. So parents need to really preach our deen. So, so I think that's the way forward.
Thank you very much, Sawade. Sam, your final words before we wrap it up.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
I think this is a good, very good discussion today, and talking about this. And there's a lot of stuff to talk about in this. It's a lot of information, but I think for the most part, I would say that we've covered quite a bit, talking from childhood all the way to becoming a youth, and what really need to happen in between. Very important. The only thing I ask that is the government to play its role. Government need to play its role. Government need to really be involved in the youths and their education in general. There's like I said, there's a lot of reform that needs to take place in Gambia, and they have not taken place yet. And until we have those reforms, we are not going to get the answers that we need. We are going back to what we used to have. Is the same thing. You cannot continue to do the same thing over and over and expect a different result. It's not going to happen. We're going to have the same results over and over. So until something change, and we've all talked about change, there's been a lot of change that, the education system needs to reform, the constitution needs to reform, civil service reform, security reform, healthcare reform. I mean, every department in Gambia needs to be reformed. So, and somebody needs to start somewhere. We need to have those leaders that we can hold accountable to really help in this area. So thank you. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sam. Thank you very much, Sawade. Thank you very much, Aja. Thank you very much, Siaka. I think that we lost him because of connection. And thank you very much, the viewers. See you next Saturday, inshallah. At the same time.
Thank you all. Thank you, Aja. Thank you, Njaga. And thank you, Mr. Sawane. Thank you all. You all have a wonderful evening.
All right. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you all.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
All right.